We all know Aaron Rodgers may be considered the best in football, but is he even the favorite in Green Bay? Remember how beloved Brett Favre was 16 years at Lambeau, the face of the league, All-American boy next door, and he brought the pack to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1 and losing 1. Stephen A. Smith, I'm starting with you. Why isn't Rodgers embraced like Favre in Green Bay?
Because Aaron Rodgers didn't pay as much attention to controlling narratives and engaging in media manipulation the way that Brett Favre did. Brett Favre, I mean, it got to a point where it was embarrassing even on the part of pundits and commentators listening to them on the air talking about Brett Favre. Oh, look at him trip over his offensive lineman and throw the ball underhanded. Oh, look at him jump into the arms of his offensive lineman. The little kid is still there in him. It's never left him after all of these years. Isn't it wonderful to see? That's what you saw about Brett Favre. With Aaron Rodgers, the closest thing that you saw to him in terms of histrionics was him doing the discount double check. That's about it. Outside of that, you know what? He just went out there and performed considerably better than a great Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers, think about this. Brett Favre, quarterbacked in the NFL for 20 years. Threw for over 70,000 yards. Fair enough. 508 touchdowns. 336 interceptions. He was a gunslinger. He was courageous. He made things happen, but he'd also kill himself as well. What happens? A 1.5 ratio, you know, in terms of touchdowns to interceptions. Aaron Rodgers, 313 touchdowns. 78 interceptions. That is a better than 4-to-1 ratio. This brother is on another level. He is something special. He is better than Brett Favre, always has been, always will be. But in today's generation, particularly with the advent of social media, even though it's grown exponentially in the Aaron Rodgers era than it ever existed in the Brett Favre era, Brett Favre did a masterful job of cultivating relationships and ingratiating himself with the media at large and beyond. Plus, he's a bit more personable. He didn't come across as private, even though one could argue he has been. And that is the reason why the faithful in Green Bay has delivered. Not to mention the fact that there was a long drought between when Green Bay was winning championships in the 60s and when Brett Favre, along with the Minister of Defense, Reggie White, and those boys, helped deliver a championship back to Lambeau Field. And there was obviously a significantly shorter gap between Brett Favre delivering the Super Bowl and then Aaron Rodgers ultimately doing it in 2010. So that played a role in it as well. But ultimately, it's about the narrative. It's about ingratiating yourself with the media at large. It's about cultivating relationships, being perceived as a bit friendly or whatever. I find Aaron Rodgers to be one cool brother, you understand, who just goes out there and is an absolute assassin and doesn't mind telling you to go kick rocks and mind your business because I've done my job and I'm not interested in really ingratiate myself with you. I'm not trying to offend you or disrespect you, but I'm not interested in really cultivating a relationship with you. I think that's what has been held against Aaron Rodgers, and that's the reason why Brett Favre has received significantly more love than him.
Now, I don't think it's just about media manipulation on Brett Favre's part. I think this is who these guys are. At least, you know, you could say, well, it's the way they project their images in the media. But I think there's something in there that people pick up on. So that, look, Aaron Rodgers is better than Brett Favre. Brett Favre, I love Brett Favre. Love watching him. Love for him to be the quarterback of my team. He's one of the all-time greats. He was always overrated by the media because the media used to actually say it's the greatest quarterback of all time. Never. Never. That was just simply not the case. But he was among the greatest, sure. And he was fun to watch. Never as good as Aaron Rodgers is right now. Not on his best day. Aaron Rodgers clearly a superior player. So why does Brett Favre get the love? Wrangler jeans, Stephen A. He gives you the sense, Brett Favre, he's the prototypical quarterback that people like to look for. Like, that feels like the right kind of quarterback. Not just in terms of what he could do on the field, but the entire package. The fact that it looks like he's looking to put on those Wrangler jeans and go hunting for his food. He's a good old boy, right? The fact that you mentioned it, he's drawing up plays in the dirt with his stick, and he's going to go out and play. And so if there is an interception, everyone's having fun out there because he also might win the game. And by the way, there's some truth to that. It's not that all that stuff is nonsense, but that's the feeling people are getting. And you take that and you look at the Iron Man, streak. Aaron Rodgers has missed chunks of seasons. Brett Favre has the all-time record for consecutive games played, and that resonates, especially in middle America, I think, with that kind of ethos, with the kind of work ethic and toughness, where you get up every day and you put those jeans on and you go do your job, whether you're hurt or not. All those things about Favre resonate, and it's not a knock against him. That's just what it is. And Aaron Rodgers is introspective, and he comes across as intelligent. And I think in football circles, especially at times, that can be read as effete, as removed, as distant. And by effete, I mean you're self-reflective and introspective to the point of, like, inaction. Like, you can't, Brett Favre, man, he might throw the interception because he's not thinking too hard about it. He's just going to let it go, you know, like the rest of us, like what we want to see in our football players. And Aaron Rodgers, he's removed from us. He feels as though he's part of the elite or intellectual, and he's different. And we know that he has a feud with his family that he won't talk about. And he doesn't feel to people like the prototype of what they're looking for in their quarterback, and Brett Favre did. And so he's never really won the affection, at least in Green Bay, I don't think, at least in that neck of the woods and Packers fans, that Favre won, even though he's more deserving of it because he is the better player.